The invoice came on a Tuesday. I was sitting at the kitchen table with a mug of tea gone cold, staring at the water stain on the ceiling that Marcus kept promising to fix. 3 months now. The brown circle had spread like a bruise. The envelope was cream-colored. Expensive paper. The kind that whispers money before you even open it. Prestige Events and Catering, final invoice. I didn't recognize the company name. We hadn't hosted anything in over a year. Not since Marcus's promotion, when he suddenly became too busy for dinner parties, too tired for friends, too distant for me. I opened it anyway. Event, private wedding ceremony. Date, June 14th. Location, Rosewood Estate. Total, $47,000. My hands went numb. Today was June 9th. I read it 3 times. 4. The words didn't change. There was a phone number at the bottom, and I called it before I could think, before the rational part of my brain could stop me. A woman answered on the second ring. Professional voice, warm but busy. Prestige Events, this is Monica. Hi, I received an invoice. For a wedding. June 14th. Oh yes. The Rosewood booking. Beautiful venue choice. Are you calling about dietary restrictions? We'll need final numbers by Friday. My throat closed. I'm sorry, whose wedding is this? A pause. Papers rustling. Let me see. Marcus Chen and Vivian Ashford. Is this regarding the menu? I hung up. The phone clattered onto the table. My vision tunneled. Marcus Chen. My husband. Marrying someone named Vivian Ashford in 5 days. I sat there for 20 minutes. Maybe longer. The tea grew colder. The water stain didn't move. When I could breathe again, I opened my laptop. Vivian Ashford wasn't hard to find. She had the kind of online presence that rich people have when they want you to know they're rich but also tasteful about it. Private Instagram, but her Facebook was semi-public. Model gorgeous. 26 years old. Her father owned half the commercial real estate downtown. There were photos of her at charity galas. Art gallery openings. And there, in the background of one photo from 3 months ago, was Marcus. His hand was on the small of her back. Looking at her the way he used to look at me. Before the promotion. Before the late nights. Before the distance. I scrolled back further. Found a photo from 8 months ago. Marcus was in that one, too. Different event, same possessive hand placement. 8 months. We'd been married for 6 years. I closed the laptop. Walked to the bedroom. Opened his closet. His clothes hung there like they always did. Expensive suits now. He'd upgraded his entire wardrobe after the promotion. Said he needed to look the part. I'd been so proud of him. In the back of the closet, behind the winter coats, I found a garment bag I didn't recognize. Unzipped it. A tuxedo. Custom tailored. With a label inside that said Wedding of MC and VA, June 14, 2024. I zipped it back up. Put everything exactly as it was. Went back to the kitchen. The invoice was still on the table. I picked up my phone and called the catering company again. Prestige Events, this is Monica. Hi, this is. I'm calling about the Chen Ashford wedding. June 14th. My voice sounded strange. Distant. Like it belonged to someone else. I know this is last minute, but are you still hiring staff for the event? Oh. She sounded surprised. Actually, yes. We just had 2 servers cancel. Do you have catering experience? 5 years. I'd worked my way through college serving at weddings and corporate events. Before I met Marcus. Before I quit to support his career, to be available when he needed me, to manage the home while he climbed. Can you start on Friday for training? Yes. Great. Come by our office tomorrow at 10. Bring your food handler's card if you have one. I hung up. My reflection stared back at me from the darkened window above the sink. I didn't recognize her. This woman had just gotten herself hired to serve at her husband's wedding to another woman. Marcus came home at 11 that night. He did that now. Came home late, smelling like expensive restaurants and perfume that wasn't mine. Hey babe. He kissed the top of my head. Routine. Muscle memory. You eat? Yeah. There's leftover pasta. I grabbed something at the office. He loosened his tie. Checked his phone. I've got that conference in Seattle this weekend. Thursday through Sunday. Boring sales stuff. I turned a page in the book I wasn't reading. Sounds awful. Yeah. He scrolled through his phone, smiling at something. But the hotel's nice. Might actually get some rest. He went to shower. I sat there listening to the water run, holding the book, seeing nothing. The conference in Seattle. Of course. The alibi was already built. I wondered if Vivian knew about me. Probably not. I'd become so invisible in my own life that even my husband forgot I existed most of the time. When Marcus came out of the bathroom, I was in bed with the lights off. He climbed in beside me, scrolled his phone for another 20 minutes, then turned away. We used to sleep tangled together. Now there was a canyon between us. Marcus? Do you still love me? Silence. Long enough that I knew the answer. Of course I do. Why would you ask that? Just wondering. He didn't reach for me. Didn't turn around. Just said goodnight and went to sleep. I stared at the ceiling. At the water stain spreading like a bruise. At the evidence of neglect that had been there all along. The Prestige Events office was in a trendy converted warehouse downtown. Exposed brick, industrial lighting, young people in black clothing moving with purpose. Monica was 40-something, efficient, and kind in the way people are when they're busy but trying. You've done weddings before? Dozens. Good. This one's high profile. Very high profile. The bride's family is. She lowered her voice. Let's just say everything needs to be perfect. The father has influence everywhere. I understand. She walked me through the menu, the timeline, and the dress code. Black pants, white shirt, minimal jewelry. Hair back. Invisible. Perfect. The ceremony is at 4, reception at 6. We'll need you there by 2 for setup. It's a small wedding. Intimate. Only 75 guests. Sounds lovely. It will be. The bride is beautiful. And the groom seems absolutely devoted. You can tell when couples are really in love. I smiled. You can. Training was on Friday. They taught us the exact way to hold the trays, how to pour champagne, how to move through a room like we weren't there. How to be invisible. I'd forgotten how good I was at this. How easy it was to fade into the background. One of the other servers, a college kid named Jamie, was chattering nervously. I heard the bride's family owns half the city. Her dad's like, seriously connected. Probably politicians here and everything. Probably, I said. Have you done celebrity weddings before? A few. Were you nervous? I arranged champagne flutes on a tray, each one exactly 2 inches apart. Not really. They're just people. I guess. She lowered her voice. Monica said the groom's some big shot at Dalton and Associates. Vice president or something. 34 years old and already making executive money. My hands didn't shake. They should have. They should have dropped every glass. Impressive, I said. Right? Some people have all the luck. I thought about Marcus at 28, working 80-hour weeks, eating ramen, stressed and beautiful and mine. How I'd believed in him when no one else did. How I'd supported every risk, every late night, every sacrifice. How I'd made myself smaller so he could grow larger. Yeah, I said. Some people do. Marcus left for his conference on Thursday morning. He kissed my forehead, told me he'd call me, and checked his reflection twice in the hallway mirror. He was nervous. I'd never seen him nervous before a business trip. You okay? I asked. Fine. Just a big presentation. He adjusted his collar. If I don't call much, don't worry. The schedule is packed. No problem. I'll keep busy. He looked at me then, really looked, like he was seeing something he'd forgotten. For a second, I thought he might confess. Might crack. Might choose me. I love you, he said. I know. He left. I watched his car disappear down the street. Then I went to the bedroom and opened his closet. The tuxedo in the garment bag was gone. I called my sister that afternoon. Jenna lived 3 hours away, married, 2 kids, stable and safe in ways I'd thought I was. Hey. What's up? Can I ask you something? Always. If David cheated on you, what would you do? Silence. Then, did Marcus cheat? Hypothetically. Bullshit. Tell me. So I did. All of it. The invoice, the Facebook photos, the tuxedo, the wedding on Saturday. My voice stayed steady. I'd cried myself empty the last 3 nights. When I finished, Jenna was quiet for a long time. You're serving at his wedding? Yes. Jesus Christ. I know. Why? Why would you do that? I stared at the water stain on the ceiling. Because I need to see it. I need to see him choose her. I need to watch him promise forever to someone else while I'm standing 10 feet away. Otherwise, I'll always wonder if I misunderstood. If there was some explanation. There's no explanation that makes this okay. I know. What are you going to do? After? I don't know yet. Come here. After it's over, just come here. Stay with us. Maybe. Promise me you won't do anything crazy. I laughed. It sounded wrong. What's crazy? I'm already serving at my husband's wedding. We're way past crazy. You know what I mean. I'm not going to cause a scene, if that's what you're worried about. I'll be professional. Invisible. That's what I'm good at. That's not. I have to go. Love you. I hung up before she could argue. That night I stood in front of the bathroom mirror and cut my hair. Shorter than I'd ever worn it. Dyed it darker. Brown instead of honey blonde. Put in colored contacts, hazel instead of blue. The woman staring back at me was someone else. Someone Marcus wouldn't recognize even if he looked directly at her. Which he wouldn't. Men like Marcus didn't see the help. Saturday arrived like an execution date. I woke up at 5, even though I didn't have to be at the venue until 2. Couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about Marcus in a hotel room somewhere, getting ready. Putting on that tuxedo. Checking his reflection. Nervous and excited to marry someone who wasn't me. I made coffee. Didn't drink it. Showered. Put on the black pants and white shirt. Pulled my hair back so tight it hurt. Good. The pain was focusing. At 1:30, I drove to Rosewood Estate. It was the kind of venue that charged $50,000 just to unlock the doors. Rolling grounds, ancient oak trees, a mansion that looked like old money having a baby with a fairy tale. Marcus couldn't have afforded this. Not on his salary. Not even with the promotion. This was Vivian's father's money. This was the world Marcus was marrying into. I wondered if that was part of the appeal. The dynasty he'd get to join. The connections. The doors that would open. I wondered if he loved her at all, or if she was just another promotion. Monica was already there, clipboard in hand, directing the setup with military precision. Good, you're early. Grab a tray and start with the champagne setup. Ceremonies at 4, guests are arriving at 3:30. Got it. The venue was transforming. White chairs arranged in perfect rows. An arch wrapped in white roses and something called peonies that probably cost more than my car. String quartet warming up. Everything is elegant, tasteful and expensive. The kind of wedding I'd dreamed about once. When I still thought Marcus and I would matter. We'd gotten married at the city hall. No family, no flowers, just us and a bored officiant. Marcus said we'd have a real wedding later, when we could afford it. When things were stable. That was 6 years ago. I arranged champagne flutes. Checked the catering stations. Moved through the space like a ghost. At 3:15, I saw her for the first time in person. Vivian Ashford was even more beautiful than her photos. Tall, luminous, wearing a dress that probably cost more than I'd made in the last year. She was laughing with her bridesmaids, relaxed and radiant and completely unaware that her groom's actual wife was 20 feet away holding a tray of champagne. Her father stood nearby. Older, distinguished, watchful. The kind of man who was used to getting what he wanted. I wondered if he knew about me. Probably not. Marcus would have buried that detail deep. Guests started arriving. Designer clothes, expensive jewelry, the kind of people who summered in places and wintered in other places. Politicians, business executives, society types. Marcus's parents weren't there. They lived in Ohio, middle class and practical. They'd loved me. Called me their daughter. They probably didn't even know about Vivian. I circulated with champagne. Invisible. Perfect. No one looked at me except to take a glass. At 3:50, Monica whispered sharply, "Groom's about to come out." Everyone to positions. I moved to the back corner, holding my tray, heart hammering so hard I thought the champagne might rattle. The music changed. String quartet playing something classical and expensive. And then Marcus walked out. He looked beautiful. The tuxedo fit him perfectly. His hair is styled just right. Nervous smile. Hands clasped in front of him. He stood at the altar and waited for his bride. I watched him from 30 feet away. This man I'd slept beside for 6 years. This man I'd loved since I was 23. This man who'd promised me forever and meant it, once. He didn't see me. Didn't even glance in my direction. The music swelled. Everyone stood. Vivian appeared at the end of the aisle. She was devastating. The dress, the flowers, the smile. She looked like every bride who'd ever been truly loved. And Marcus. The way he looked at her. That broke something in me I didn't know could still break. He'd never looked at me like that. Not even in the beginning. Not even when he'd said he loved me. This was different. This was the look of a man who'd found what he wanted. Who was getting everything. Vivian walked down the aisle on her father's arm. When she reached Marcus, he took her hands, and I watched his mouth form words I was too far away to hear. But I knew what they were. "You're beautiful. I'm so lucky. I can't believe this is real." All the things he'd never said to me. The officiant began. I'd heard these words dozens of times at dozens of weddings. They'd never felt obscene before. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today." I should have left. Should have walked out, driven home, called a lawyer. This was enough. I'd seen enough. But I couldn't move. I needed to hear him say it. Needed to hear him promise forever to someone else. Needed the final, absolute proof that I didn't matter. That I'd never mattered. Marcus Chen, do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? To have and to hold, from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do you part. Marcus smiled. Squeezed Vivian's hands. I do. The champagne glass in my hand cracked. Not shattered. Just cracked. A thin line running down the side. Champagne seeping slowly through. No one noticed. The ceremony continued. Vivian Ashford, do you take this man? I set the tray down carefully. Wrapped a napkin around my bleeding palm where the glass had cut me. The pain was distant. Theoretical. I do. By the power vested in me by the state of California, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. He kissed her. Long, deep, the kind of kiss that made guests whisper and smile. The kiss of a man who'd won something. Everyone applauded. I stood there bleeding into a napkin, watching my husband marry another woman, and felt nothing. That was the worst part. I'd expected rage. Pain. Something. But it was just empty. Just gone. The reception was worse. During the ceremony, I could stand in the back corner and be invisible. But now I had to circulate. Had to offer champagne and hors d'oeuvres. Had to move through the crowd while Marcus and Vivian greeted guests, laughed, and posed for photos. While they looked happy. I kept my head down. Hair in my face. Moved quickly. In and out. A ghost in black and white. Monica caught my arm during a pass through the kitchen. You okay? You look pale. Fine. Just warm. Your hand is bleeding. I'd forgotten about the cut. Glass broke. It's nothing. Go to the bathroom and bandage it. There's a first aid kit under the sink. We can't have blood on the trays. Sorry. Not your fault. Go. 5 minutes. I went to the bathroom in the east wing. Away from the reception. Away from the laughter and music and celebration of Marcus's new life. I locked the door and looked at myself in the mirror. The woman looking back was a stranger. Dark hair, hazel eyes, bleeding hand wrapped in a napkin. She looked thin. Breakable. Like she might disappear entirely if someone turned off the lights. I unwrapped the napkin. The cut was shallow but long. Palm to pinky. It would scar. Good. I wanted a scar. Wanted physical proof that this happened. That I'd been here. I bandaged it carefully, washed the blood off, and fixed my hair. When I came out, someone was standing in the hallway. Marcus. My heart stopped. He was on his phone, turned slightly away, agitated about something. I told you I'd transfer it on Monday. No, I can't do it today, I'm in the middle of, he exhaled sharply. Fine. Fine. I'll call the bank. Just stop. He looked up. Looked right at me. Our eyes met. For 3 seconds, maybe 4, we stood there. He in his tuxedo, me in my server uniform. Recognition right there on the surface. Right there. I held my breath. His eyes moved over my face. Confused. A frown. Then. Excuse me. He stepped aside to let me pass, phone still to his ear. Sorry, what were you saying? He didn't know me. I walked past him. Down the hallway. Back to the kitchen. My legs were shaking. He'd looked right at me and didn't know me. 6 years. 6 years of my life. And I'd become so invisible that even standing 3 feet away, he couldn't see me. Jamie was restocking trays. You good? You were gone a while. Fine. Glass cut me. Ouch. You need to take a break? No. I needed to work. Needed to keep moving. Needed to serve champagne to people celebrating my husband's bigamy. The party continued. Dinner was served, 5 courses, each one more elaborate than the last. I watched Marcus and Vivian at the head table, feeding each other cake, laughing at toasts. Vivian's father gave a speech about love, partnership and building legacies. About how proud he was to welcome Marcus into their family. Marcus's face during that speech. Grateful. Ambitious. Hungry. He'd traded up. Simple as that. I'd been the practice wife. The starter marriage. The woman who supported him when he had nothing, whom he could discard once he had access to something better. The dancing started at 9. First dance, father-daughter dance, all the traditional moments. I circulated with dessert wine, watching Marcus hold Vivian close, watching them move together like they'd been made for this. At 10:30, Monica called the staff together in the kitchen. Okay, people, we're in the home stretch. 1 more hour, then break down. You've all been fantastic. I was refilling my tray when I heard it. Voices in the hallway. Marcus and another man. I recognized the second voice, David Ashford, Vivian's father. Appreciate you handling that account for us. Discretion is important. Of course. Everything offshore, completely clean. Good. Because if anyone starts asking questions about where that money came from, they won't. I've structured it perfectly. Untraceable. My hands stopped moving. You're sure? Because if this blows back on Vivian. David, I've been laundering money for your company for 18 months. It's what I do. Why do you think I got promoted? Marcus laughed. Cold. Unfamiliar. You think I made VP because of my sales numbers? Silence. I married your daughter because she's the perfect cover and because she's gorgeous. But mostly because now you can't testify against me even if something does surface. Spousal privilege. I stood there holding a tray of dessert wine, listening to my husband confess to money laundering and marital fraud to his new father-in-law. That's not why I. Isn't it? You needed someone smart enough to hide your assets and young enough not to ask too many questions. I needed connections and money. We both got what we wanted. And Vivian? Vivian gets to stay rich and beautiful. Everyone wins. Footsteps moved away. I set the tray down. My hands were shaking again. The cut on my palm had reopened, blood seeping through the bandage. Marcus wasn't just a cheater. He was a criminal. Using his new wife as an accessory. Using their marriage as legal protection. This wasn't about love. It had never been about love. It was about money and power and covering tracks. I walked back into the reception. Found Vivian standing near the dessert table, talking with bridesmaids. She looked happy. Flushed from dancing. In love with a man who just admitted to marrying her for legal immunity. I should tell her. Should walk up right now and say, your husband is using you. He's a criminal. This whole thing is a lie. But I didn't. Because part of me, the ugly, broken part, wanted her to find out the same way I had. Slowly. Painfully. With years of her life wasted before she understood what she'd married. Instead, I served her dessert wine. Thank you, she said, not looking at me. Congratulations, I said. She smiled. Distant. Polite. The way rich people smile at servers. Thanks. It's been such a perfect day. I'm sure it has. I walked away before I could say anything else. The reception ended at 11. Guests filtered out, drunk and happy. Marcus and Vivian left in a town car, waving, headed to some expensive hotel for their wedding night. The staff stayed until 2 in the morning, breaking down, packing up rentals, cleaning, and restoring the venue to its original state. Like the wedding had never happened. I worked mechanically, stacking chairs, rolling up tablecloths, erasing evidence. Monica handed me an envelope when we finished. "You did great work tonight. If you want more shifts, we've got events every weekend." "Thank you. You sure you're okay? You seem, I don't know, distant. Long day." "Yeah." She squeezed my shoulder. "Kind. Go home. Get some rest." I drove home at 3 in the morning. Let myself into the house Marcus and I had rented for 4 years. Our furniture. Our photos on the walls. Our life that he'd just erased without telling me. I sat on the couch in my server uniform and didn't move for a long time. The sun came up. Light filtered through the windows. The water stain on the ceiling was still there, bigger now. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus, "Conference running late. Probably won't be back until Tuesday. Miss you." I stared at it. Read it 5 times. Then I opened my laptop. It took 4 hours of searching, but I found them. The offshore accounts. Marcus had been careful, but not careful enough. He'd used our home computer for some of the transfers. Left traces. Breadcrumbs. Accounts in the Cayman Islands. Shell corporations. Money moving in and out. Millions of dollars. David Ashford's money was being washed clean through Marcus's careful hands. I took screenshots of everything. Downloaded files. Saved them to 3 different drives. Then I made coffee and started researching. The FBI had a financial crimes division. They liked tips about money laundering. Especially when it involved real estate fraud and offshore accounts. They liked the evidence even more. I spent Sunday documenting everything. Building the case. Making it airtight. Monday morning, I called a divorce lawyer. Explained the situation. All of it. She was quiet for a long time after I finished. "Mrs. Chen, do you understand what you're sitting on?" "Yes. This is evidence of multiple federal crimes. If you turn this in, your husband will go to prison." "I know. And you're sure he's actually married to this other woman?" "Because if he is, that's bigamy. That's another crime." "I'm sure. I was there. You were at his wedding. I served champagne." She laughed. Startled. "Jesus Christ. So what do I do?" "First, we file for divorce. Document the adultery. Then you decide whether you want to be the hero or the ghost." "What's the difference?" "Hero goes to the FBI, turns in evidence, and testifies if needed. Becomes part of a federal case. Your name in the news, your life examined, everything public. And ghost? Ghost sends the evidence anonymously. Let them build the case without you. Disappear while your husband's life implodes. Clean break." I thought about it. About Marcus's face when the FBI showed up. About Vivian learning that her perfect marriage was a lie and a crime. About David Ashford realizing the man he trusted had documented everything. "Ghost," I said. "I want to be a ghost." Smart choice. Papers rustling. I'll draw up the divorce paperwork. We can cite irreconcilable differences, keep it simple. "You want anything from him?" "Nothing. You're entitled to." "I don't want his money. I want him to have nothing." She was quiet. "Then, I'll have the papers ready by Wednesday." Tuesday afternoon, Marcus came home. He looked tired. happy. Like a man who just had a beautiful weekend away. Hey, babe. Miss me? I was sitting at the kitchen table. The divorce papers were in front of me. 3 copies. Signed and dated. What's this? He picked one up. Read the first page. His face changed. What the hell, Amy? I want a divorce. Why? What happened? What did I do? The audacity was stunning. You tell me. I don't, this is insane. We can talk about this. Whatever you think. I'm not thinking anything. I'm done. Amy. He sat down across from me. Reached for my hand. I pulled away. Baby, talk to me. What's going on? Sign the papers. No. Not until you tell me what this is about. I looked at him. Really looked. This man I'd loved. This stranger. Do you love me, Marcus? Of course I. Don't lie. Not now. Do you love me? He hesitated. Just for a second. But that second was everything. I care about you, he said carefully. We've built a life together. We're partners. Partners. Yeah. We're a team. Were you with another woman this weekend? His face went blank. What? Simple question. Were you with another woman? I was at a conference. I told you. Were you with another woman? Silence. Long and damning. Yes, he said finally. But it's not, it's complicated. It's really not. Amy, listen. This doesn't change us. What we have is. You married her. All the blood drained from his face. How did you? I was there, Marcus. I watched you promise forever to someone else. I served champagne at your wedding. He stared at me. Trying to process. Trying to find the angle. You're insane. Sign the papers. This is entrapment or something. You can't. Sign. The papers. I need a lawyer. Get one. But you're going to sign eventually. Either now or in 6 months after you've paid him $50,000 to tell you the same thing. He stood up. Paced. Ran his hands through his hair. If you tell anyone about Vivian, I'll. You'll what? You're a bigamist, Marcus. You're committing a felony. What are you going to threaten me with? Her father has connections. Serious connections. If you try to. I'm not trying to do anything except divorce you. That's it. Sign the papers, move out, and I'll stay quiet about your little crime spree. Crime spree? Sign the papers. He looked at me like I was a stranger. Like I'd transformed into something he didn't recognize. Good. He picked up the pen. Signed all 3 copies. Threw the pen down. You're making a huge mistake. Probably. But it's mine to make. We could have had everything. You already have everything, Marcus. That's the problem. He left. Packed a bag. Didn't look at me again. The door closed behind him. I sat there holding the signed divorce papers and felt nothing. Still nothing. Maybe I was broken now. Maybe he'd taken the parts of me that could feel and left nothing but empty. I didn't care. Wednesday morning, I mailed the divorce papers to my lawyer. Wednesday afternoon, I created an anonymous email account. Wednesday evening, I sent everything to the FBI. Every screenshot. Every document. Every detail of Marcus's money laundering operation. The offshore accounts. The shell corporations. David Ashford's name is on everything. I included a note. Marcus Chen of Dalton and Associates has been laundering money for David Ashford for 18 months. He recently married Ashford's daughter, while still legally married to another woman, to establish spousal privilege. All evidence attached. Follow the money. I hit send. Then I deleted the email account and destroyed the hard drives. Ghost. 3 weeks later, the news broke. FBI raids Dalton and Associates in money laundering investigation. Marcus's face was on every news site. Arrested. Charged with multiple counts of wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. David Ashford was arrested, too. His company is under investigation. Assets frozen. Vivian's photo was everywhere. The beautiful bride whose husband turned out to be a criminal. Whose marriage turned out to be bigamy. Whose father turned out to be exactly what everyone suspected rich people were. I watched it all from my sister's house 3 hours away. Jenna had insisted I stay with them. Said I needed distance. She was right. Did you do this? She asked one morning, coffee cups between us, her kids at school. Do what? Don't play dumb. Did you turn him in? Does it matter? I guess not. She sipped her coffee. How do you feel? Empty. That'll pass. Will it? Eventually. She squeezed my hand. You did the right thing. I wasn't sure about that. The right thing would have been never marrying him. Never making myself small. Never believing that love was about sacrifice instead of partnership. But I was learning. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello. Mrs. Chen. This is Detective Sarah Morrison with the FBI. I was hoping we could talk about your former husband. My stomach dropped. I don't know anything. I think you do. We traced the anonymous tip back to a location near your home. We just want to verify some information. I'm not interested in being involved. You were at the wedding, weren't you? On June 14th. At Rosewood Estate. Silence. I have photos from the event, she continued. A professional photographer captured everything. Including a server with dark hair serving champagne. Same height as you. Same build. Different hair color, but still. Lots of people serve champagne. Your name is on the Prestige Events employment record. They kept copies of everyone's food handler certifications. Yours was uploaded on June 10th. I closed my eyes. What do you want? The truth. I've given you everything you need. My ex-husband is a criminal. His new wife's father is a criminal. They deserve what's happening to them. And Vivian Ashford? Does she deserve this? That's not my problem. She's a victim too. She didn't know about the money laundering. Didn't know he was already married. She's lost everything, her husband, her father, her trust fund. The press is destroying her. Again, not my problem. I just need you to testify to what you witnessed. The marriage ceremony. That's it. No. Why not? Because I want to disappear. I want to be a ghost. I want to forget this ever happened. You'll never forget. She was right about that. But if I testify, I'm part of it forever. My name in court documents, my face on the news. Everyone knew I was the wife who got replaced. The woman who wasn't enough. You were enough. He was the problem. Easy to say. Mrs. Chen, Amy, you could help put these men away for a long time. You could get justice. I already have justice. They're arrested, aren't they? Their lives are destroyed. That's enough. Is it? I hung up. Jenna was watching me. FBI. Yeah. They want you to testify. Yeah. Are you going to? I thought about it. About standing in a courtroom, telling my story. About seeing Marcus again. About everyone knowing what he'd done to me. No, I said. I'm done with him. I'm done with all of it. Good. She hugged me. Tight. You deserve peace. I wasn't sure I deserved anything. But I was going to try to find it anyway. The trial happened without me. They had enough evidence. The financial documents, the witness testimonies, the bigamy charge. Marcus and David Ashford both pleaded guilty eventually. Marcus got 12 years. David got 15. Vivian divorced Marcus before he was sentenced. She released a statement saying she'd been deceived, that she was cooperating with investigators, that she just wanted to move on. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. I started over. New city. New job. New name, eventually. Let Amy Chin die quietly and become someone else. Someone who didn't carry champagne to her husband's wedding. Someone who didn't make herself invisible. Someone who learned that love wasn't supposed to hurt like that. It took 2 years before I could sleep without dreaming about that day. About standing in the back corner, watching Marcus choose someone else. About the way he'd looked at her. About the way he'd looked through me. It took 3 years before I stopped checking the news for his name. It took 4 years before I could hear wedding vows without feeling sick. Some wounds don't heal. They just scar over. And sometimes, late at night, I run my finger over the scar on my palm, the one from the champagne glass that cracked, and remember. I was there. I existed. Even if he never saw me. I saw everything. And that, somehow, had to be enough. The water stain on the ceiling never did get fixed. I moved out of that apartment 3 months after Marcus was arrested. Left everything behind except the photos from when we were young. When I thought love was forever. Those I burned. The new place doesn't have water stains. Doesn't have memories. Just empty walls and possibilities. I painted them white. Started over. Learned to be alone without being lonely. Learned that invisible and small were choices I'd made, not conditions I was born with. Learned that some people will take everything you offer and still ask for more. And I learned that sometimes the only power you have is walking away. Even if you have to serve champagne at their wedding first. Even if they never see you leaving. Even if the only witness to your pain is you. You walk away anyway. You become a ghost on purpose, not by accident. And slowly, carefully, you learn to haunt yourself a little less each day. If this story touched you, subscribe so you don't miss the next one.